Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are just joining me, I'm thrilled you found it. So, I'd like to talk about carbs a little bit, and in particular, some fruits, fabulous fruits, that are considered almost negative carbs in the body. And that might appeal to some people who are transitioning in their diet towards a healthier plant-based, whole food plant-based diet. So, in our society right now, people are totally anti-fruit. Oh, it causes diabetes, which is a total farce. The body is not affected by fructose in that way and can totally process it. So, of course, it's so alive and nutrient rich and full of water and natural properties that what I love so much is the high carb. High carb. I'm not even afraid. It's like high carb. The high carb but low fat and largely raw vegan diet. That is my preference, but I know not everybody's there. So if you're coming from just our society, you may have had the standard American diet, which is kind of course, all of the animal products and junk food and less than lovely. But you may have tried to step it up with like a keto diet, which of course is low carb, or an Atkins diet, which is also low carb. If those were where you were, and now people are saying, oh no, eat high carb, as long as it's fruit and vegetables, and you're freaking out, this might be a blessing for you. So first I was just looking at this article and it said for keto, and keto just seems to be all the rage, the ideal is less than 20 grams of carbs a day. And that is very, very little. But some of these will fit into there if you'd like to stretch in a fruit or two. And then for moderate low carb, so of course the diehards are 20 carbs or less. But for those who are moderately low, they're still pretty hot, is 20 to 50 grams. You'll have plenty of room for these in there. And then finally, if you're liberal, so I don't know, there are high raw vegans. Are there high ketos? Because this says for a liberal low carb, it's about 50 to 100 grams a day, for which you can just totally enjoy all of these fruits because they're amazing. So let me explain. First, it says that gross net carbs is basically how many carbs you actually consume minus the non-digestible fiber in those carbs. Because just by definition, if it's non-digestible, it's going to stay, intact in your body and ultimately be eliminated, which is why these foods, in essence, are considered negative carb foods. And just as a side topic, I had talked earlier about some vegetables that are considered zero-calorie foods. So literally, if you put in the search engine zero-calorie vegetables, an entire list will come up. And of course, we know that there's calories in those foods. But by the time you have chewed them, digested them, eliminated them, all the steps that your body had to go through, they're essentially 0 calories. So, if you're hungry, if you're needing more snacks, if you want to munch on something, even if it's just because you're a compulsive person, choose those 0-calorie ones. And these, which are essentially 0 carb, could really help in a transition, if you're concerned about fruits. And again, fruits are just from God. They are just so life-giving. It's insane. I mean, what... But again, I'm talking from someone who's in love with fruit and vegetables. If you're a person who has always heard that carbs are a nightmare, check this out. These are essentially 0 carb foods. Number 1, coconut. The actual meat from coconut, which people love to use in so many things, is only 2.5 carbs per cup. The thing you have to watch for in coconut is the fat. Because even though it's a healthy fat, it can add up. The second one, who can believe avocados? What? I know. I love avocados so much. That is essentially a 0 carb fruit. And of course, it's a fruit by virtue of having a seed in it, right? We think of it as a vegetable. So avocados, rock and roll. But again, be cautious of the fat because it is, a healthy fat, but that fat adds right up with, 400 calories in an avocado. All right, but watch yourself. The other one, which is so interesting to me, is mulberries. And I am not that familiar with mulberries. I haven't used them, but I know Fully Rock Christina, another social media personality, uses mulberries in like all of her dessert recipes, which are decadent. I mean, oh my goodness. She uses them as a filler. They're pretty fantastic, and check it out. They are only 11.3 grams per cup and only 60 calories. This one interests me, and this would be for some of our friends south of the border. I don't mean to generalize, but a lot of people in the Latino population, this one is prickly pears, which of course comes off of the cactus plant. And when I was a little girl and we would go to Catalina like 3 times a year, we would just take the risk of grabbing that prickly pear right off the cactus and rubbing the pricks, but the needles off on the rocks, on the warm rocks, and just eating that prickly pear. Oh my goodness, such a great memory. And prickly pears are about 60 calories, and they are only 8.9 carbs per cup. So that's a fabulous one. Another great one, again in the 60 calorie a cup realm, are raspberries. And raspberries are only 6 grams a cup. And oh my gosh, I love raspberries, and I love to use them in my smoothies. They are so fabulous. This one is amazing too. So many great properties in this are olives. And the good thing about olives is when you consume the olive itself instead of olive oil, which no one has business consuming, really, no offense. It doesn't exist in nature. And I think my Tanny Raw was saying it was like 4,000 calories for a pound of oil. Olive oil would be no exception, but only 1.5 grams of carbs. So again, watch that fat, but only 1.5 grams of carbs. Blackberries, another fabulous one that I love. I love just eating those fresh, but I also love them in smoothies, and they are only 8 grams per cup. Melons of any kind, 8 grams for 100 grams of melon. So 100 grams of melon is like 4.7 ounces, if I converted that. Wait, that doesn't seem right. Sorry. I'm not going to say. Sorry, let me just think about that. Oh, I'm not going to guess. Anyway, 100 grams of melon, you'll have to get that converted, is only 8 grams of carbs. Another, or a few fantastic ones, are what they refer to as stone fruits, and I think it's because of the pit inside, but that would be peaches, cherries, and apricots. All 3 of those are only 10 to 12 grams per cup. And finally, the last one would be the Asian pear. And the Asian pear is only 8.6 grams per cup. Again, I'm not concerned about the carb grams, but that's pretty fantastic for people who are. And even if you wanted to do that 20 gram of keto, knowing that all meat is essentially dead, so I think you're good to go there, and maybe some vegetables, which is not a carb thing, you could easily combine some of these, right? You could have a whole cup of peaches, a whole cup of blackberries. For people who are afraid of fruit, that is a tremendous amount, right? Anyway, super interesting, and I'll try and include it if I can. And again, that's just for my people who are transitioning and have come from the keto or come from the Atkins or just come from society that says fruit is terrible and carbs will make you fat. Until you are more comfortable with fruit, you might want to try some of those, which are essentially considered zero carb foods. Who knew? Not me, but what I do know is, as usual, it is 11:30 at night, and though I'm stoked that I totally did my 25 minutes on the rebounder, I have some other objectives, and then I got to get to bed. So, as always, thank you so much for checking in. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Peace be with you. Make some good choices, enjoy those carbs, but go ahead and do this in your transition. I will try and post the actual video that I got that information from. And until we talk again, my friends, be blessed.